quick revision and value addition series for the prelims 2020, and this part 2 of the medieval history. We will cover the Mughals and the regional states in the later medieval period as well as those contemporary to the Mughals. So first, Sur interregnum. Interregnum means the something between the two major regimes, two major empires like the Delhi Sultanate and on one side and Mughals. For some time, Delhi has ruled by the, or North India was ruled by the Afghan power, Afghans of the east, or the Surs were actually, Sur dynasty didn't have any prior kingdom. Farid was a small father of Sher Shah. Farid was a small jamidar of the Sahasram in Bihar, and Sher Shah being a soldier who fought for the number of rulers, including the Babur. Yes, Sher Shah also fought for the Babur. And later on, Sher Shah, because of his excellence in warfare, got the employment under the Bengali ruler or Bengal Bihar ruler at that time, Bahar Khan Lohani. And then situations emerged, a number of things happened. His master, he married the widow of his master after his death, and he got the control of the east. He became the leader of the Afghans of the east. When Humayun got control of the northwest India, and from the Delhi onwards, now the powers confronted each other for the Doab of the Ganga Yamuna. Afghans of the east, Humayun here in the Delhi region, and Sul. Then Humayun was twice defeated at Chosa first, and then Bilgram or the Kannauj, the final defeat. Humayun was saved, and ultimately he has to got away from India. He went to Persia, remained there, and came back after Sher Shah's death. That is a different story. I will come to it later on. And Sher Shah, in his small reign, is known for a number of reforms like the Jabti systems. Yes, Jabti system was first introduced by the Sher Shah. Jabti system was the land revenue system, and Todar Mal was actually under his employment. Jabti system was later on developed into the Dahshala system of Akbar, right? So, Jabti system was based on the measurement of the land revenue, and Jabt actually means the measurement itself. And Japti system followed by the Dahshala system was something similar to the British Rayatwadi system. Okay. Sher Shah was followed by Islam Shah Suri. Islam Shah Suri. Sher Shah, how Sher Shah died? Because Sher Shah fought with the Maldev Rathod, Marwar chief, who was his most formidable enemy. But he died not in a battle, but in an accident while capturing the fort of Kolinjar. Then Islam Shah Suri succeeded him. Islam Shah Suri, most important point about his rule was he tried to codify the laws to counter the ulamas. Then the Muhammad Adil Shah, who was a Pakhawaj player, he was a musician. His minister, his wazir was Hemu, a Rewari, Haryana. He was born in Rewari, and later on he is crowned himself. He is known as the Hindu kingdom, Hindu emperor, but because he was the wazir who served and only for the small period of time, some don't consider him a Hindu emperor, and they consider only Harsha as the last Hindu empire of the North India. Under him, second battle of the Panipat was fought with Akbar under Bairam Khan's commandership. That's it. Now came the second battle of the Panipat, and Akbar won against the under the commandership of Bairam Khan against the royal forces of Ibrahim Lodi under Hemu. Hemu was killed while on elephant, and thus the Mughal power was once again established. let's do the Babur first. Jahiruddin Muhammad Babur. Babur or the Mughal homelands were in Fargana Valley. Fargana Valley, actually, they came to why they came to India, because of the defeat by the Uzbek power in the region. So they moved to India. It is also said that some Lodhi, some Afghans like the Daulat Khan Lodhi, the governor of Punjab, as also the uncle of Ibrahim Lodhi, one of the uncles, invited him. But some of them is not. Because in some text it is written that he invited, but later on retracted. Some of them it is just mentioned that they invited him. Also, Rana Sanga is said to write a letter to Babur to inviting him to attack India. Finally, the first battle of the Panipat, in which he used the tactics of Talguma and Rumi, and in which he used his cannons behind a series of cards so that royal forces of Ibrahim Lodi could not see it. The cannons were placed here and they were behind guard. Also, they were safeguarded from direct attacks by the royal forces, as well as the cannons were on some small platform. This is something like cannon. Okay, please bear with my drawing with the digital pen. And this way they can be moved quickly, although the cannons were heavy, but because they were on platforms, so they can be moved quickly. Moreover, he attacked royal forces from center as well as from sideways, a kind of vyuhrachana in Hindu, according to which is in ancient Hindu battle tactics. So these Talguma and Rumi tactics, he won the first battle of Panipat, and then followed by the battle of the Khanua against the Afghans, against the Rana Sanga, then battle of Ghagra against Afghans of the East in 1529. But he soon died. He was buried near Agra, but later on he was buried at Kabul. Yes, later on he was buried at Kabul. He introduced the Char Baghs or the symmetric gardens, which is also there in Taj Mahal, Humayun's tomb, etc. His Baburnama is a marvel of the Chagatai Turkish, his own autobiography. Humayun, I already mentioned that Humayun was defeated by the Sher Shah. He fled to Safavid courts in Persia. After that, earlier he defeated Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. I mentioned about the Bahadur Shah who was defeated by Akbar, but before that he was defeated by Humayun. And but later on, he came after Sher Shah's death to Delhi, and soon he died after falling in an accident. He died by falling from the steps of his library. Humayun Nama is written by Gulbadan Banu Begum, his sister and Akbar's Buwa, you can say. Akbar, his real name was Jalal, Prince Jalal. Akbar was Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar. Title Akbar means the great. He was born in Amarket, Rajput house in Sindh. Behram Khan and Hemu fought in second battle of the Panipat, and now once again Mughal rule was established in North India. Akbar discharged Behram Khan, who was the father of Abdul Rahim Khana. Just a second. Now, in early times of the Akbar's rule, his foster mother ruled. Yes, Akbar was not directly in command. These years of his reign is called the petticoat governance, years of petticoat governance. Okay, so after the Behram Khan's regency, the years of petticoat governance came, in which the Adam Khan's mother and foster mother of Akbar, Mehem Ananga, ruled. But when Akbar ordered Adam Khan to get killed because of his behavior, then Akbar started ruling, deciding his own affairs. During this time, Adam Khan won Malwa for Akbar, defeating the famous musician king Baj Bahadur, who is also known as for the Baj Bahadur and Roopmati, Queen Roopmati. Akbar then won the Gondwana Chittor against Uday Singh Rana, Uday Singh, father of Maharana Pratap, Ranthambore, Marwar, etc. But Maharana Pratap uh, continued to defy the Akbar's authority and fought the guerrilla battles against Akbar. Finally, he was defeated in Battle of Haldi Ghati. Akbar's forces were commanded by the Amir Sman Singh of Amir, who was the grandson of Raja Bharmal. Actually, Akbar started Akbar's Rajput policy. Akbar introduced a Rajput policy in which he made Rajputs a partner in the empire. And the partners in the empire, he gave them important positions and used their military prowess in the expansion of the empire. So, first one to do so was the Amber Riyasat, Amber state. So, Bharbal and his son also Mansingh, the Amber princess, was married to Akbar, although in popular culture like entertainment she is known as Jodhabai, but actually she was Harkabai. Okay, Jodhabai was actually a Jodhpur princess, later on married to the Jahangir. Then Akbar founded the city of the Fatehpur Sikri. I will show you the buildings of the Fatehpur Sikri, but because of the lack of the water, it was later on abandoned. After the Gujarat victory, he also founded Mughal Buland Darwaja, because Gujarat was a prosperous state and Rajputana was one. Some of the Rajput states were allied with, because he wanted a safe passage to Gujarat, from Delhi to Gujarat. And Ajmer became a major Muslim center in Rajputana at that time. Then he moved to Kabul because his half brother Mirza Hakim was rebelling there. Finally, he defeated him and he handed over the affairs to Mirza Hakim, but Mirza Hakim soon died. And finally, Mirza Hakim's sister and Akbar's sister was given charge of the Kabul's affairs. But after that, Kabul was included in the provinces of Mughal Empire. Akbar, from during this time, from 1584 to 1898, for quite some time, Akbar ruled, moved the capital to Lahore. He won the Balochistan, Kandahar, Ahmednagar were the last few expeditions of Akbar's forces, and Khandesh, the last major victory. Ahmednagar was under Chand Bibi. And Kashmir episode I mentioned already about Yusuf Shah Chak's imprisonment. No need to repeat it. Akbar's governance model was based on the Sufi doctrine. The Far-e is the, and he believed in Wahadat al-Wujud, unity of all being. Deen-e-Ilahi, the shadow of the God on earth, divine light, Far-e is the, were used as a justifying, as a signifying the superior position of Sultan. As a symbol of appeasing the Hindu populace, he abolished the conversion of slaves after a war, as also abolished jizya, which was finally abolished in 1579 after the Majar Declaration, but officially first established abolished in 1564. Later on, Aurangzeb introduced back in 1679. Ibadat Khana debates are also associated with Akbar, because in 1579, after discussing, like I mentioned about the Kashmiri ruler Badshah, yes, he also discussed the religious affairs with first Sunni, Shias, and other Muslim gurus, and then Christian missionaries, Parsis, Hindus, Jains. Okay, finally he introduced something like Ashoka Dhamma, a Mahajar, but not many accepted his Deen Ilahi, his new religious order, his order. Only few like Birbal, Abul Fajl, Salim, his own son, accepted, and some people like Man Singh, Todarmal, etc., and Man Singh's father Bhagwan Das of Amber openly declined to accept it. an important point in Mughal administration was the abolishment of the wazir's positions and revival of the military reforms of Alauddin like Dag and Chehra. So Mughal administration, which was also quite centralized one, most important one was the Dahshala system or the advancement of the Jabti system to Mal's Bandobasti of Sur times. With the help of Muzaffar Khan Turbati, it was introduced in 1580-82 as the Dahshala system, in which according to the type of the crops, type of the lands, based on the measurement, a detailed revenue model was introduced. And then in 1594-595, Mansab means rank, for the salary for the organization of the Mughal nobility, which was a dual rank system, Jat signifying the status of the noble, and the Sawar, which was equal to Jat rank. If 5,000 Jat, that is 5,000 Sawar. The number of cavalrymen which a Jat or the Mansab holder had to maintain. Dahabishti system means 10-20 rule. For every cavalryman, 2 horses were supposed to be there. Okay, for the efficiency of the cavalry. Then there were mixed contingents. Some were Afaki foreigners, some were Turks, some were Indians, right? Some South Indians, some North Indian, East Indians. Jahangir introduced major reforms in the Mansabdari system, which is called Duh Aspa Sihi Aspa. Means to make it more efficient, more and to reduce the burden on the exchequer of the Mughals. Jahangir removed this condition that Jat and Sawar rank was supposed to be equal. Now Jat rank can remain same, but Sawar rank can be introduced. Means they for same salary, the commitment of the Mansabdar will increase. Okay. Now comes to the agriculture irrigation. Dahshala I just mentioned. So these are the 4 types of the land: Polaj, Paroti, Chachar and Banjar. Banjar, as you know, nothing produces here. Polaj, in which 2 crops annually. Paroti, in which say some for some period it is left fallow. Chachar, for 2 or 3 years it was left fallow and then 1 crop can be raised. These are the methods of the crop sharing. Ghalla Bakshi, Batai or Baholi. Khudkasht, Pahikasht, Bilahar and Mujerin were the agricultural class. Khudkasht, self-croppers. Pahikasht, who used to who were the farmers who used to work in others' fields. Bilahars were the laborers. Mujerin was the lower class laborer. Nankar and Malikana. So Nankar and Malikana were the tax of the Akbar's time, in which Nankar were the special tax of the Akbar's time, in which, like in Nankar, 1/10 of the produce was given to the Jamidar. Okay, 1/10. And Malikana is a compensation to the Jamidar, which were equivalent to around 25% because of the perquisites lost by Jamidar. And Jagir system was introduced, like Ikta system of Delhi Sultanate. Jagirs were assigned to Mansabdar in lieu of their salaries, like Ikta's piece of land from revenue of which they got their salary. Jagir from Khalisa land, as in Doab. Khalisa are the royal lands from which, like the ancient Sita, from royal lands from which direct revenue of which directly goes to the royal treasury. And Doab land, the most prosperous land, no Jagir was allowed in starting. Jama and Hasil associated with the Jama, the Jagir. Jama were the assessed income of Jagir, but usually the Hasil or the true income was less than Jama. Later on, the difference grew more and more, and ultimately in the end, the Jagirdari crisis, one of these major factor was there, and resulted in the decline of the Mughal Empire. Then again Diwan and Wazir position Prime Minister, Mir Bakshi like Arija Mumlik, the Paymaster General of military. He was not the commander but Paymaster General for the maintenance. Mir Saman in charge of the royal household, Sadr and Kaji for the welfare as well as the justice department. These are the administrative units, Suba like province, Sarkar and later Jila, and finally Pragna and followed by villages. Kotwal was the officer in charge of the towns like police officer. Jahangir, Prince Salim, his elder brother Khusro revolted during the time of Akbar, and thus Salim became the emperor at the title of the Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir. He settled on a treaty with the son of Rana Pratap, Amar Singh of Mewar, and also got control of Kandahar back from Persian. Then in the Deccan, Ahmednagar was subdued by the Prince Khurram, later on Shahjahan, and one mistake which happened during his reign was the murder of Guru Arjun Dev, which resulted into the militarization of Sikhs in Punjab. Jahangir regularly visited Ajmer Moinuddin Chishti Dargah. It is there he met the Thomas Roe, William Hawkins and Thomas Roe, the British ambassador. They got the royal farman from him. He also was very fond of paintings, particularly the portraits and natural paintings. I will show them in the painting section. Mahabad Khan, his brother-in-law, Mahabad Khan rebelled. Asaf Khan was his brother-in-law who also rebelled because of Asaf Khan's son-in-law was a contender to throne after Jahangir against the Khurram. His wife Noor Jahan, Mehrun Nisa, given the title of the Noor Jahan. Asaf Khan's daughter was married to Khurram. So Asaf Khan supported Khurram, and then Noor Jahan's early daughter married to another prince. So that's why there emerged this conflict. There was Janjir-e-Adl for justice outside his palace. So this is about Jahangir and important points about him. I hope this will help you. And now the Shahjahan, famous for his Taj Mahal, Shahjahan, and we know about the Shahjahans, primarily Shahjahan is known for the Taj Mahal and the Aurangzeb and Shahjahan affair, what happened at the end. So Shahjahan's time, the Bundelkhand under the Jujar Singh Bundela and Veerdev Singh Bundela was brought under control. He founded the Shahjahanabad Red Fort at Delhi, as also the Chandni Chowk by Jahanara, Jama Mosque. Peacock Throne by Babadal Khan was made, which was later on taken away by the Persian. And Taj Mahal under Ustad Isa was built. Then he introduced a number of reforms in the Mansabdari system as well. Kandahar was permanently lost during this time. It was taken for some time back, but Kandahar remained under the Mughal control for some time after Akbar, first under the Jahangir, then lost, then again taken back, then again lost by Shahjahan, then again taken back and finally lost. Then monthly scales were introduced by him in the Jagirdari system. Okay, in the Mansabdari Jagirdari system, monthly scale were introduced by him. After his death, his 4 surviving sons, Dara, Shuja, Morad and Aurangzeb, fought against each other. Dara was the eldest and supported by Shahjahan, during his lifetime. And Aurangzeb, who was the most capable military commander, who was the Deccan governor, came to North Fort against Dara and royal forces at Samugad and Dharmat. Finally, he undertook the title of Alamgir Aurangzeb and got the throne of Delhi. He was a religious boycott who prohibited Jaroka Darshan official painting, story, history writing, singing, Jaroka and Nowroz, etc. Imposing of Jizya already mentioned, a number of revolts which were because of his, not because of his religious policy but also because of his high-handedness happened among the peasant class like Jat, Satnamis, Sikhs. Association with Rajputs also affected, like with Rathors, when he didn't allow the adoption of the Rathor successor. No, Afridi and other northwestern Muslim tribes also revolted. But most important problem was the Deccan ulcer, or that of Maratha guerrilla war. And let's come to the Akbar. His son rebelled during his time and met the Sikhs as well as the Marathas. Shivaji, the Deccan ulcer, Maratha problem. What was it? Actually, the Marathas were the foot soldiers who were taught the guerrilla tactics by the Deccani Sultanate, and Shivaji, under the tutorship of Dadaji Konddev, who rose to prominence and became a problem for the Bijapur Shahi Sultanate. Bijapur Shahi Sultanate sent his commander Afzal Khan, but in a meeting when Shivaji got to know that Afzal Khan is going to kill him during this meeting, he preempted and killed Afzal Khan with a buck knuck, with a claw. No need for this bug knuck thing for this revision video. Okay, now Shivaji sacked Surat, the most important western port for Mughal Sultanate, and now Mughal dynasty of Delhi sent the forces under Shaista Khan, of governor of Deccan, to tackle the crisis there and tackle the problem of Mughals of Marathas under Shivaji. Now this new governor Shaista Khan was defeated by Shivaji on a surprising raid on his camp. As a punishment, Shaista Khan was sent to Bengal. Now Raja Jai Singh was employed to tackle this problem. Raja Jai Singh defeated Marathas in number of the battles, and finally a Treaty of Purandar was signed by Shivaji, in which he surrendered most of his forts, and he was given a mansab and he came to visit Mughal court in Agra, but he was given a low position there, and he considered he thought that it is a disrespect for his position in Deccan, and he escaped. He revolted against it. Then he was imprisoned, but he escaped from there and once again sacked Surat. It was quite damaging for the Mughal business interest. And about the administration of Marathas, Chauth was 1/4 of the land revenue which they demanded, so that someone might remain protected, some minor state, the local chieftain might remain protected from the Maratha raids. So protection money kind of thing. Sardeshmukhi was 1/10 of the land revenue which they demanded from the traditional land of Marathas in Maharashtra. While Mokas or Saranjam grants were the kind of the Jagirs of given to their Sardars. Ashtapradhans were the Shivajis or the Maratha administrations. They include the Purohit, Senapati. There was also the Ashtapradhan. The other names under the Ashtapradhans, I'm not able to recall. Is yes, Pandit Rao. Purohit's name was Pandit Rao. Then there was Majumdar or Amatya, who was in charge of revenue. Nyadhish is the common for the justice. There was Sachiv as well, who for the correspondent. Sachiv was also known as Suru Navis, and Wakia Navis in charge of the household affairs as well as intelligence. Dabir or Sumant, and charge of the ceremonies as well as foreign affairs. Sare Nobat, or this was the Senapati. But most important was a Peshwa, about whom, or the Prime Minister about whom I will talk about later. Now let's look at the Dakkani Sultan, or this successor state of the Bahmanids. There were 5 of them: Berar, Bidar, Ahmednagar, Golconda, and Bijapur. These 4 joined hands to defeat the Vijayanagara in Battle of Talikota. Berar was founded by Imad Shahi dynasty, and next later on by Ahmednagar, the superior power. The Bidar under Barid Shahi, B, next by the another B, Bijapur. Ahmednagar under Nizam Shahi, Nizam. These Nizam later on, you can say later Nizam of Hyderabad, and they were annexed by the Shah Jahan. Now the last 2, the most important one and the last 2 which remained till the time of Aurangzeb, Bijapur and Golconda. Bijapur of Adil Shahi, I mentioned already about the Bijapur and Bijapuri conflict with the Marathas, and Golconda under Qutub Shahi in the present day Andhra region. This Ahmednagar is in Maharashtra, Bijapur is in Karnataka. Bijapur rule was in Maharashtra, Karnataka. Malik Amber of Ahmednagar is very important here, because Malik Amber taught the Marathas the guerrilla tactics. One of ruler Ali Adil Shah is known as Sufi, like the Bahmani Sultan Wali, Ahmad Shah Wali. Here Ali Adil Shah is known as Sufi. Ibrahim Adil Shah is known as Abla Baba for generosity, Jagat Guru as well, and was a musician and founded a city Noraspur. Okay, he founded in Noraspur. Because he was fond of music. Ibrahim Adil Shah of Bijapur, while Muhammad Adil Shah founded Gol Gumbaz. While Muhammad Kuli Qutub Shah, Malik Bahran or Urdu. Urdu was become quite popular during this time, right? Then also Charminar was constructed by this guy Muhammad Kuli Qutub Shah or Malik Bahran. So both Muhammad built. Adil Shah Muhammad built Gold Gumbaz, and Qutub Shah Kuli Qutub Shah Muhammad built Charminar. Okay, Charminar is a building I will show you in, if you are not aware of Charminar. Okay, I will show you in the architecture video. Thank you guys.